Hello, this is Aaron Saft on the MR Runningpains podcast. With 30 years of running experience and 20 years of coaching, I thought it time to share with you things I've learned and people I've met so that you can try things for yourself and see if they help your running. Thanks for joining me.
Wrote this song while crewing Aaron on a 100-mile foot race through the trails in the rain and mud. How about that? Miles to go. 100 miles to go. Don't ask me why I do it, I don't know. Miles by foot. 100 miles by foot. Don't ask me why I do it, I can't stay put. Rain is a coming, can't give a fit. Rain is a coming, can't give a fit. Don't ask me why I do it, but I am legit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 43. I have a great chat in store for you with a really dear friend, mentor, co-conspirator in many ways. His name is Bart Smith. Bart is 75 years young, amazing individual. He's helped me with Hellbender. He was, instrumental in helping me gain the permits that we needed for Hellbender. We dealt with so many different entities, between the governmental entities, which, included the Forest Service, the state parks, even the North Carolina Department of Transportation. We had to, talk to the all the emergency responders, which would include the rescue teams, local police agencies, fire, search and rescue, all of those. Bart, was really amazing in reaching out and having that consistency in a voice that we needed to organize the Hellbender 100. So, Bart was just a fantastic friend and partner in working on that race. I couldn't have done it without him. He joined the Run 828 board when I was serving on that, and really just a strong member of our community. Bart, as you'll hear, has so much experience. In his youth, he started out as a speed skater and sought and chased after and gained multiple American records in speed skating, and then he always was a runner, a trail runner, a road runner, and just has a lot of insights and recommendations and tips for all of us in how to enjoy running and be successful at running and run long term. Obviously 75 years old and still plugging away. We'll talk about everything he does and some of the tips he has, stories he shares. Just a great guest, great conversation. I love you, Bart. I really appreciate your time and everything you do. Thank you for all of your guidance for me, mentorship, and looking after me, and everything you do. I appreciate you. So, without further ado, I present to you Mr. Bart Smith. My guest here, as I said in the introduction, is Mr. Bart Smith. Bart, how are you today?
Good, doing great.
Excellent. So, you're healthy?
You're staying healthy, yeah.
Good. That's all that matters right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Bart Smith. Living here in Asheville, North Carolina for the last 12 years. And born in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Southern boy, but I wasn't there very long. Raised in Southern California, fortunately in the foothills of the Angeles National Forest. Beautiful spot for a minor teenager. It was a great spot to be. I got interested in speed skating. I was about 13, 14 years old, and couldn't have picked a better time to get interested in speed skating because we had half of the Olympic team represented from Southern California. This was during the Squaw Valley Olympics in 1960. And that kind of gives you an idea of my age. I'm 75. And anyway, had many good mentors during my developing years in speed skating. And it was, I was very fortunate, very lucky. Had good mentors around me and solid people. I eventually became relatively good, placed well in state championships indoors, had an interest to go into the outdoor arena, which that meant having to go to the Midwest or to Canada, which I did. So I spent my first winter in Minneapolis area, and later that winter in Red Deer, Alberta, and learning the ropes of outdoor skating. It was like learning to skate over again. But
how old were you then?
And had some good coaching when I came back to California to help me develop. One thing led to another. Following season, a couple of North American outdoor records, 3,000 meters, 5,000 meters. Drew the attention of a coach in Norway, in Hamar, Norway, Jost Tenman, who invited me to train with his team in Hamar, Norway. So the following year, I headed that direction and did well. I basically accomplished the majority of my goals, which was setting American records for 3,000, 5,000 meters, racing the World Championships in 1965, where I first set the American record for 5,000 meters, and re-broke that a couple of times, and then got an offer to go to engineering school over there. So all said and done, I was spent about almost 15 years in Norway, between skating for 6 seasons and going to engineering school, working for a couple of contractors and consulting engineers. Yada, yada.
What time period of your life was that? How old were you?
Yeah, when I went over, I was, I would have been 19. I went over to Norway. Yeah.
Very good. And how did you do at the World Championships?
Like I said, broke the American record. I did not qualify for the final event, the 10,000, but I didn't really believe I had that was that well. I was ready to skate that level, but broke the American record. I was pretty happy with that, and got to skate at Bislett Stadium. That was quite an adventure. 20,000, 22, 25,000 spectators, most of which were maybe sober. I don't know, but it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was awesome. So got to skate on the big stage, which I did for a couple of years over there. It was a great experience. It was kind of, at that time, speed skating was on the level like Major League Baseball is here. So yeah, it opened a lot of doors for me.
Yeah.
Not so many here there. Opened a lot of doors.
That's awesome. When did your speed skating career end?
Yeah, when I started school, I'm in my second year of engineering school. It was just the studies were too demanding. I had to, so I pretty much packed it up. I guess it would have been the winter of 70, 71. And during that time, did a lot of running. In fact, my first speed skating coach back in the California days, he encouraged me to begin running to build my condition. So, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed running. I was, living right on the edge of the Angeles National Forest, where they have the Angeles Crest 100-miler right in that vicinity. In fact, I ran a lot of those trails they use for that race today. So it was, I enjoyed running, and had a couple of skating coaches that actually told me that, hey, Bart, you ever considered focusing on running? But skating was my first love, so but it was, it was good. So skating required a lot of weight training. In fact, that's what propelled me to the level I got to, was doing a lot of heavy weights. So building strength sport. So.
Where did running continue when you were in Norway? Like after you stopped skating, did you continue to run, or did you just take a break from sport?
I ran the Holmenkollen relay a couple of years, and 1 year I ran the what they call the Charmøde Etappen, which is the what do we call? I guess the glory stage, where you actually run into the stadium. So, and you hand off for your last stage, which is about a 300-meter run. But I got to do that, and I was running over there and continued running after I stopped skating, and competed in basically club level.
All right.
Event. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. And when did, obviously trail running has kind of, as you said, been a part of your life for, since you were young, being next to Angeles National Forest. When did ultra running come into the picture for you?
Yeah, it came in, competitively. It came in after I moved here to Asheville. So it's just been the last few years I got into, the longer events, moving up in the marathon. I ran like 25, 30 marathons. And then when I moved to Asheville, there was, a blooming interest in throughout the country for the ultras, and thought, why not? Give it a try. And on the trails, it was even more appealing. So it was kind of a natural hand in glove situation, especially living here. We just live 100 yards away from the Mountain to Sea Trail where we live right now. So it's easy access, and love it. Easy on the body.
What was your first ultra?
Oh, golly, when was that? Very first ultra would have been DuPont. Yeah, I forget what they call it, Hickory Mountain. Yeah, 50K. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the longest ultra you've done?
50 miles.
50 miles.
Yeah, I've done it. Well, actually, I've done a 50-miler, and And that was what, 6-7 years ago, I guess, 8 years. Time's flying. But and then some timed events, which for 12-hour timed events, which the goal was always to get to 50 miles. Got close several times and finally made it last October. Yeah. 11:34. Bart crossed the 50-mile barrier. Hallelujah.
Well, kind of that time frame where you were seriously speed skating was around the time a lot of actual physiological developments were being made for coaching. So science was starting to catch up with how to train folks, and we were getting new principles in training. Were there any parallels that you saw between speed skate training and running training? Because, I mean, you're skating the 5,000 and 10,000, and I imagine you were also running and racing that same distance. What parallels could you say we're seeing between the two in training?
Just a year before I went to Norway, a fellow took over the Norwegian national team by the name of Stein Jonsson. And Stein based his principles on the Lydiard, Arthur Lydiard.
Yeah.
Same concept, same build-up, same sharpening, very identical. And we basically took the base building well into the fall and did not begin any kind of sharpening type training until we were actually on the ice. There were some that tried to do it on dry land, but it just didn't translate, and you just basically ruined a lot of your base. So yeah, a lot of similarities. It was very similar. I mean, we were basically using Lydiard principles. We had more weights.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Recommended, but yeah, we were doing weight training, but yeah, same.
So
yeah.
You got into phase 2, which I just went through and talked to the listeners about. That's Lydiard's hill training phase where he does plyometrics. Were you guys incorporating plyometrics as well, or were you doing more strength training in that phase?
Well, I guess I need to back up just a little bit. Before I went to Norway, a fellow who had Roy Wallace, who had a tremendous impact on my training, to getting ready, and built me up to my success in Canada. He was heavy into the Russian mythology. He had a couple of books translated from Russian into English. And so we were at that time big into basically building the engine. That was all it was about. So there was you had periods and blocks where it was just long, slow distance, but always the underlying tone was building the engine. So that at the same time you're doing that, you're doing you're squatting with 250 pounds on up. So a lot of just build. That was, like I say, it was just build the engine. That was the whole concept behind it. The idea was that you move into that arena. The first couple of years, you're going to be very strong, but you're not going to be that quick. Didn't quite work out that way for me. After a year of that, man, I was ripping it up. So I was it worked out very well for me. And it's kind of interesting as time went on and I've gotten older, I moved from building the engine, and I hung on to that. Even when I was training with Tenman and Hamar, I was still keeping the weights up, more weights, more heavy stuff, deadlifts, more than the other guys were. So because I knew it worked for me. So I wasn't going, if it works, don't try to fix it. So I stuck with that. So I was still in that building engine. And then as time went on, you're more tuning, almost like year round, you're tuning and tuning and tuning. And so I kind of took that with me when I, got out of skating and just was running for the fun of it and enjoying the trails and mountains over there running. It was still kind of in this tuning mode, still trying to do some, heavy stuff once in a while. Big hills, steep hills, all Persis Arati type stuff. But it was, it was more tuning oriented. And now I find as I'm getting older and where health, strength, and flexibility and agility is, and ballistic strength, I find myself, I'm back into this build the engine thing again. That's working for me now. So, and it does, it's more health enhancing as well, I believe, at least for me.
Yeah. Well, let's touch on that. So at 75, what does strength training and mobility work look like for you?
I'm pretty much, I got back into the heavy deadlift for a while, but it didn't seem like it was having the same effect that I had when I was younger. So I've graduated to kettlebells, swing, get-ups, goblet squats, and I have a pretty fixed routine that I use, year-round. I've been doing that for 3 years now, and I can finally do a get-up now with a little bit of weight, and a lot of core strength. I couldn't believe how weak I was, and something I found out here just a few years ago when I was getting some rehab for a back problem was my glutes weren't firing. I guess I sit on them too much, but for a speed skater to hear his glutes aren't firing, that's like telling a piano player has got hangnails and all 10 fingers, So that was a blow to the ego, and so I took it to heart, and that's why I was having back problems, because all the forces were going to my hamstrings and my lower back. So once I got the glutes going again, all that cleared up, and that's the thing I like about the swings, that you're doing them properly. You're really going after the glutes and working that hinge, and that has been a huge benefit. To be able to, at this age, enjoy running and running long distances, being out there all day and enjoying it, and feeling everything working and come together. So that's my strength work has really gone to the kettlebells, and that's I think I'm getting more instead of just instead of just raw strength, it's more focused on ballistic strength, which is very important as you get older.
Yes.
You stumble on something, you got to have all those little muscles got to fire too, so you don't go flat on your face and say hello to Mother Earth real quick.
Do you do anything else? I mean, those are very good exercises for helping mobility. But do you do anything else that helps you with your range of motion and mobility?
Yeah, I have a routine I do every morning. It's a 20-minute routine, a kind of a combination of what the boys at Cornerstone Physical Therapy taught me to keep these glutes going and to kind of take care. I do have a herniated disc, L5S1. Good old L5S1, man. There it is. So I do a routine that takes that into account. Certain thing I know that keeps that healthy, and I incorporate some yoga to keep things loosened up. Learned some good things this last 2 years on stretching. I'm very. I've had come across this guy as Pavel Tasatolin, who is the guy that they say brought the kettlebell to America. He's through Strong First. I've gotten a lot of good insight there, how to stretch, how to strengthen, and keep your body tuned up so you can rise to the occasion when it comes up.
Yeah. What do you do pre-run? What does your pre-run look like? Just before you go running, do you do any type of warm-up then?
Yeah, I might. Usually I've already done my 20-minute routine in the morning, so I got everything, so I'm not hobbling around the house. I'm up and ready to go. I might do some, what do you call it? The good morning, morning salute. Do that. Might do a few of those before I go out the door. But usually just get my, by the time I'm done my 20-minute routine and got my clothes on, I'm ready. I'm set to go.
Good. Anything that you have learned that you need to avoid, any type of stretches or any type of, well, you're talking about like deadlifts just weren't working for you, but any strength training, things that you just, are going to be more detrimental to you at this point in life?
Let's see. Now I can't really recall things. You try something. I try it and I give it a fair chance. If it doesn't work, I discard it. So I don't even give it a second thought. I just keep moving forward. Things I try to avoid. As far as I stay out of I stay away from the lactic acid baths that we did a lot when I was skating, and there was a fair amount of when I was running. Like I say, it was more of a tuning mode. I've kind of gone more to this, and this goes back to my former days. The engine building was, they're claiming this anti-glycolytic training is something new. I mean, Russians were doing that back in the 50s, and that's what they were recommending for all their up and coming skaters. So I do that. Still, I try to avoid. Once in a while I go out and hammer, but that's rare. I try to avoid that because at this age it takes too long to recover.
Yeah.
You do a 12-hour event. You're not lactic acid is not an issue. So having gone with the optimal fat metabolism here about 3 years ago, recovering from the long events is goes pretty quick, pretty painless actually. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good the day after a 12-hour 50-miler. I mean, I'm not. It takes maybe a month to really get back, so it's you really feel sharp. But golly, compared to what it used to be, I mean, no delayed onset muscle soreness, no dooms on second day after an event or a big run, none of that. Yeah, so it's that's had a huge impact on my health as well. Big impact.
So you just kind of touched on recovery there, but what does it look like for you after an event? Are there specific things that you're doing or, eating or, what are you doing specifically to help you recover? Anything specific?
Yeah, just make sure I'm drinking plenty. That's about it. Yeah. Okay. Man, avoiding sweets, I can go into the store. I can go into a bakery or just a store. Go by the bakery department. I can walk by a dozen chocolate chip cookies now and not even miss a stride. I mean, I move right on by them. So.
You poor thing.
Yeah, don't miss it. I feel, once in a while, I'll have something sweet, and then, if I'm cautious about it, it's no big deal. But sometimes you overindulge and think, why did I do that to myself? Like a recovering alcoholic, man. So yeah, this was my downfall before. None of that no more. Done with that.
Well, I mean, as you also touched on, you've seen a number of trends come and go. What are some that keep reappearing in running and that you feel should probably hang around?
Personally, long, slow distance.
Yeah.
Long, slow distance. The secret that, I hear people say, well, long, slow distance will make you slower. Well, because you're moving your legs slower. Come on, man. pick up the tempo. I mean, to make long, slow distance effective, you still have to maintain your cadence. You've got to maintain your rhythm that you're going to use when you're trying to go faster. So if you have a good racing stride, it's 170, 180 strides a minute. That's what you need to be moving your legs at when you're running slow too. So to me, that's a secret to long, slow distance is move it, keep your cadence, maintain your cadence. And you go back and look at the journals of Arthur Newton. He maintained when he was 20 milers. He said his cadence was 190 per minute. So that's why it worked for him. If you're moving your legs at about walking pace, at a running stride, not going to work. So you got to maintain the cadence, rhythm. Got to have it.
Very good.
Long, slow distance and strength work. The hills, the weight room. Make yourself stronger. Very important.
Excellent. So let's talk about the mental game. As we get older, we start to hit our mid 40s and beyond. We start to have that. Oh, I used to be able to. I remember when I could. We have these thoughts, right? So if you had some suggestions, maybe aside from don't have those thoughts, how do you mentally deal or cope with those kind of those thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to slow down. There's no 15-minute 5Ks in my future. You can basically if you're totally performance oriented, I think you should focus more on, okay, now I'm in my 50s. What can I do in my 50s? And start over again. And the same thing when you're in your 60s, or just go from year to year.
Years.
I think really the enjoyment of running. I mean, okay, you get the medals, you get the trophies, you get the prizes. I can't remember the guy's name. Snell, Peter Snell. No bugles, no drums. After world records, it's you should be out there for the enjoyment. That's the beauty of being able to move yourself and move effectively, move painlessly. That's the beauty of running, and that stays with you, whether you're running 14:30 for 5K or running 25:30 or slower. The thing is, you're moving and you're making yourself healthy, and that's the prize you walk away with at the end of the day and take home with you, is that feeling of well-being. That's more important. You put the plaque on your wall, hallelujah. You don't feel very good. Everything's aching,
Yeah.
complaining. What's it worth? So the main thing is stick with running and to be able to be out there and moving and enjoying the outdoors and enjoying the ability to move yourself and just the overall health benefits, both physically and mentally.
So far as races go, talking about races, and obviously you've moved into the ultra world. What type of adaptations have you made to cope with the aging process? What kind of things do you do to make sure that you can be as successful as you can?
Thinking psychologically or physically?
Both. Yeah, both.
Physically, I think, we already kind of touched on that, is you've got to maintain your strength. I mean, that's it. Muscle mass is your biggest deterrent as you get older. You're losing it so quickly. You have to be after it all the time. Every day, you got to be after it. At least in my experience. You have to be doing something strength oriented every day. It's like brushing your teeth. As far as because endurance is just endurance, it actually it's not that. I don't think it's that hard to maintain as you get older. I think you're more endurance prone as you get older. The psychological aspects of dealing with slowing down, well, okay, you pay $100 entry fee. You're going to be out there a couple hours more. You're getting a better deal up for your money than the guy. The guy is racing half the time you are, So, yeah, it's just yeah. For me, it hasn't been that hasn't been a brutal transition for me. I just and I think that's because even when I got into skating, I just the idea of skating in some of these places and in Norway and Sweden and wherever was just that was the dream, to be able to be there and do it and do it well. So it was the journey was of more importance than the destination, you might say. So yeah, when do we get there?
Let's talk about one other component of training. We've touched on the endurance, LSD, and we talked about strength. But how about speed? Do you still do some speed workouts?
Yes. Yeah. Basically, it's more along the lines of stride work.
Okay, strides.
Yeah. No 400s.
Do you do any type of like fartlek or?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you basically yes. Yeah, that's basically what it boils down to. I mean, I just kind of keep my efforts to around 20, maybe 30 seconds or less. Yeah, I just maintain nose breathing. That's how does the saying go? If you own your breath, no one can steal your peace. So yeah, I can maintain nose breathing. When I can't do that, I know I'm gone. I need to back off a little bit or shorten a little bit. So it's I think that's been a very good litmus test as to how far I'm into the well I'm going. So that's been a major help, guide for me anyway. And but yeah, I do maybe try to keep it total under 3 minutes, and you can do it again tomorrow. If you can't, then you probably went a little too hard, Yeah. But at least twice a week, you're definitely really focusing on it, and then just kind of just greasing the groove the other days. But yeah, 3 minutes of 90% short burst. Take a good rest in between. I think the guideline of 15, 20 seconds every 3 minutes is probably a good place to start. You got to find out where you're at physically, what you tolerate. You're constantly, especially as you age, you got to constantly pay attention to yourself. Nothing's hewn in stone, but you got some guidelines you can work with that gives you a good starting point.
What is your weekly cycle? Do you still do 7-day cycles, or have you expanded it beyond that?
Yeah, you get to this age, you better run every day. might wake up tomorrow morning on the other side. No, no, I like to get out every day.
Yeah.
If I feel like I got a kink or something I need to kind of work out, I'm just maybe walking more than I'm running. But yeah, basically running 7 days a week. Yeah, that works for me. So at the end of the week, I'm somewhere between 40 and 50 miles. So
you're run in every week too. So like a 7-day cycle, you'll have a long run every 7-day cycle.
Yeah, a longer one. Yeah, a longer run. Maybe 3 hours. I don't go much further than that. That seems to be, I guess, that, when I was younger, I could still go out and do an all-day hike. Yeah, sure. Yeah, spend the whole day out there, walk up and down the hills. But, it's just, that's just fun. I don't think of it as training. It's just out there moving. But other than that, it's nothing like that. It's just, out there for, usually my day is about, every day is between 2 and 3 hours, everything. Running, weights, stretching. Yeah.
Great.
I also think about being retired,
And
when the kids move out of the house, the dog dies, when life starts, right?
yeah. Oh. Talk about how you set up your racing season. You recently you completed the Buffalo Mountain, the endurance 12-hour run, and you got 50 miles in there. Talk about how you set up your season so it built you up to that.
Oh boy, in this COVID times, it's kind of a little tricky. Who's going to have a race and who isn't? I usually try to have some kind of an event, no more than 6 months out. A little carrot out there dangling in front of you, keep you motivated, keep you on your toes. So it's just getting prepped, for it. It's nice to have that in the back of your mind. Plus the camaraderie of just being there with everybody. It's great. So I might throw in something, in between, but jump into a half marathon or something like that along the way. But it's kind of more of a spontaneous rather than planned for. But I try to do something every 6 months. So that works for me. Some people might need more motivation, but that seems to be the kind of the cycle I've fallen into the last 4 or 5 years. So,
did you have any other like markers that you wanted to hit along that route? Like, did you want to try to hit a 50K en route to your training for the 50 miles, or you were?
No, not now. I mean, I probably would have done that before, but not now. I mean, like I say, if it's if you're really gunning for a top position, in the field, that's probably a good idea. Kind of really see where you're at, but at this point in life, it's not that. I mean, if one came up, everyone to do, I'd probably do it. But the thing is, you got to keep in mind at 75, it's going to take a while to recover. You don't want to take the edge off it. If you can, before I could, back when I was 50, back in the day, you could do a half or something like that before a month before a marathon and be ready to go. It was a good tune-up. It's just not that critical at this time.
What age did you kind of sense that it wasn't worth that build-up, that build-up race or that build-up mileage marker?
What age? Gosh, I don't. It just kind of evolves. I can't remember waking up one morning and saying, "Well, Bart, no more tune-up races." You've done enough marathons. You kind of know what you need to do to get ready for a big marathon. Depending how training's going, that tune-up race might not be such a good idea. Your training hasn't gone that well. You might just want to carry your build-up up until about 2 weeks before. But it just kind of evolved on its own. You just you got that. You have that event 6 months out, and that's all you need to keep it going. Now, if you're somebody who needs motivation, you're that competitive, have that competitive urge, you need to keep that to keep it fine-tuned. Might be a consideration, but it's not an issue for myself anyway. Healthy man.
We've had a few guests where we kind of talk about people interested in getting into trail running, any kind of tips that you might have for those that, they're thinking about it, but they might have some hesitations or some reservations, just concerns perhaps with safety or getting lost or anything like that. Do you have any tips that you might impart?
You move from the roads to the trail. It's a different game. Fortunately, I grew my first running really was on trails. If I wasn't on trails, I was at my grandma's ranch out in Beaumont, Banning, California, jumping over furrows. So it's a whole different dance. Road running still has its place. It's a place you really go out there and work on your technique, work on your cadence. Trails, you're basically dealing with obstacles. Depending on your running form, you may have to make some alterations there. You got to pick up your feet. Stuff you're stepping over all the time, going around. It's nothing to be scared of. It's just a little different challenge, and it's good for you. Builds your agility. Like I say, it's a little different dance, but it's a good one because it keeps you mentally sharp as well. Running on the trails, you just gotta pick up your feet and maintain that turnover. Very important. If you start slowing down, your turnover to step over stuff, and you need things you need to work on. Getting lost. Like one guy told me a long time ago, when I ran up in the San Jacinto Mountains, I said, "You ever get lost up here?" And he said, "No, I've never been lost, but I was confused for a couple of days exactly where I was at." It's. I think that was the beauty of spending all those years in Norway. I was around some really tremendous outdoors people, and teaching all these things to look for, to make sure you keep yourself oriented all the time. Always watching your back trail, so you know what it looks like on the way back. Which side of the tree is the moss on? All those things. How vegetation is growing and things you're looking for. So you're constantly oriented. I mean, it's not to say you can't get a little, like my old friend in San Jacinto, get a little confused where you're at, but at least you know how to, you're not lost. You're just a little confused, but just stay on some well-maintained trails. I would say for somebody who's thinking about moving to trail, I'd say stay on the Forest Service roads as much as possible first, and then gradually move to single tracks. If that's a big concern, and maybe walk more, slow down. I mean, that's the beauty of getting on trails. You have to slow down. Some guys don't slow down much, but you got to slow down a little bit. So, old terra firma comes up at you awful fast if you miss something.
Right. What about for those looking to potentially run their first ultra? Any tips for those folks?
Enjoy the journey. Don't worry about don't worry. Just make it to the finish line. That's practice all the things you're going to be doing out there. Know how often you should drink. Knowing how often, if you have to take in nutrition, how often do you have to do that? Get your routine down. Have that routine down, and like the old golden rule. You don't try anything new the day of the race. Using the stuff that works for you, you're familiar with, so you're not fiddling around with a new vest or a new pair of shoes. You know how they work. You're familiar with them. They're tried and proven. And so you don't have to focus on it. Automatic. You're out there to enjoy the day, enjoy the journey, enjoy the camaraderie, enjoy the beauty of the area you're in. And I would say that's That's the biggest thing. And just take it, go out. Like the old saying goes, go out easy and throttle back. Just don't get too excited. None of those. You're not gonna put in. You can lose a lot more time going out too fast than you ever make. Going out fast. So you want to make sure that you're enjoying it just as much the last hour as you are the first hour. I know that's a tall order, but that should be your goal.
Cool. You've already given some great tips as to what you've done, but any final tips you may have for the masters, that are listening, those that are 40 plus, 50 plus years old? Anything you want to add to that conversation?
Yeah, stay strong, stay humble.
Very good. Any tips for motivation? What are some things that help keep you motivated?
Oh gosh, I've got I got several hundred of them living around me. I mean, this is if you're looking for motivation. I mean, this is the place to come. And there's so many people involved in running, cycling, you name it. I mean, there's all kinds of. I mean, looking for people who can motivate you. It's everywhere you look. I mean, I love it. Being able to enjoy this beautiful earth that God's created for us. I mean, we're in the middle of it. This is great. I mean, we've got maybe we don't have the 14ers here, but we've got some beautiful mountains and just a tremendous array of vegetation and animals and birds. It's just it's fantastic. I mean, it reminds me a lot in some ways of Norway, but this is like Scandinavia on steroids. The beauty of the mountains and the forest here. So it's I love it here, and that to me that's all the motivation I need is to stay healthy and keep at it, is to be able to get out there and really enjoy it. Moving through.
And a conversation that kind of ties in there. I've been coaching athletes that sometimes they tend to lose their motivation. Especially right now with COVID. We've had race after race canceled, goal race after goal race. And it's frustrating to say the least. But if you could say, like, what are some words of wisdom that you might impart to help people just kind of stay motivated, kind of stay on top of it, or even, like how to get back to it, like maybe you take a step back and then move forward. What's some thoughts you have on that?
A myriad of thoughts, but it's especially when you're just getting into it and starting to really, feel the benefits of what you build up for, and then have that stage where you want to go out and present to yourself, if nobody else, at least to yourself, what you can do, and have that taken away from you. That's a killer. You can measure, do your FKTs are real, fastest known times of things. Develop a FKT for yourself. Okay, you're not going to do shut in 220, but so what? If do it. Get somebody to help you, make a day out of it. Maybe take a couple of friends with you, make your own event. Was certainly plenty of that in my youth. We didn't have the events and the scheduled events like we have today. So we had to make it up ourselves sometimes. So I said a lot of it involved getting some people together and just going out and do it. And I would say, if an event's been taken away from you because of restrictions and one thing or another, then make one of yourself. You see these virtual events, that's kind of a same thing, except it's a little more organized. You pay a fee and, you get a little whoopee prize at the end, which is fun. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, if you've been preparing and then have it taken away, that's a kick in the gut. There's no doubt about that. And I feel sorry for people who are in that. I can't imagine what it would have been like for me if yeah, I do. I can recall. I was injured before the '68 Olympics, so I couldn't go. So, it happens. But you can you just kind of shift your focus maybe from performance oriented to basically to building yourself, building yourself physically, psychologically, and just exploring, continue to explore your own limitations and building on them, making yourself better. That's the best thing you can come out of it, because you've already done all this work. You certainly have learned a lot about yourself. Don't throw it away just because somebody took the day away from you. Build on it. Go.
It goes back to what you said. If you really truly enjoyed the journey, then you can look back on what you just did and realize that you've had 4 or 5 months of, enjoyment, and you're missing one day. It may be the summation of those 5 months, but if you divert that goal to something else, if you have a backup plan, which is, kind of what we've been doing with with my team, is just saying, have a backup. Like your race might not happen. So what are we going to do if that doesn't happen? We put in all this training. Let's make sure we have a B goal. Like, let's go out and do something that distance. It may not be obviously the race that you wanted to do, but we kind of had that culmination. But I think if you've really enjoyed that journey, you have something to fall back on as well.
Yeah. It's funny. Even I talk about things that we've experienced when running or cycling or whatever it was, and our fondest memories, interesting enough. Sure, you can think, oh yeah, well, okay, I remember when I won my first age group marathon. Yeah, okay, that's special. But the big memories, and okay, I mean, yeah, when you pushed yourself so hard at an international event that you lost most of your vision. You don't forget that. You try to, but you don't forget it. And all those things worth sharing, but the things that are the most memorable for me as from that era was a run we had to a place in San Antonio Mountains. A kid was up to a place called Dollar Lake, and this hellacious storm settled in during our hike run up to Dollar Lake to see if there was any ice, which there wasn't. But I'll never forget that. It was just so memorable. And it wasn't even, it was just a bunch of us getting together, go do a hike, run, with a mask grind off. We were kicking each other's asses. We were having a great time. And, I got back down to the parking area. My mom says, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm great. This is awesome, and I didn't realize it, but, back in the day when I had hair, I had a coating of ice over my entire head to build up in my hair. Yeah, I didn't even notice it. And those things like that, it's just those kind of memories. Yeah. Like I say, you can put the plaque on your wall, but those kind of memories will stay with you. And those things I fall back on. I want to have more of those. Yeah. Well, the hair thing, I can't do anything about that, but yeah, you just want it's just that being, especially with you can do it by yourself, but it's nice if there's others there too to enjoy it with. Enjoy the misery with. Yeah, those are golden moments, golden events.
The same can be said for even a DNF. When you don't finish a goal event, there's so many takeaways, right? Both positive and negative. I mean, you can look at, I didn't finish, but let's look at the things that I did do, and let's look at the things that did work, and got me to that point, and those that didn't, and what can I change in the future to make sure that doesn't happen. So, we could take some of those same principles and apply it to when we do have an event and we don't finish, because it could be beyond your control. One story that I don't think I've ever shared on the podcast. We were in college and we were racing at Stanford, which any track fan knows that there's magic at that track for some reason, whatever it is. That track is so fast. But we were racing to try to qualify individually for NCAAs, and I was in the steeplechase. I think I've shared this story with you, Bart, but I was 300 meters away from the finish line, even less, and I could have run, about 8 seconds slower than what I was averaging, and still made the Olympic trials. Let alone NCAAs. I would have obviously qualified for NCAAs, but I also would have qualified for the Olympic trials. I looked back for some reason to see where the next competitor was. And when I looked forward, the barrier was directly in front of me. If I had put my hands down, I would have been disqualified. So I jumped to the best I could, but my trail leg hit the barrier and my knee, directly contusion into the barrier. I couldn't stand on it. I totally lost the ability to put any pressure on that leg. And I rolled to the side of the track and tried obviously to get up and keep going. But as I said, I couldn't put any pressure on that leg. I was in pain, obviously, and frustrated at myself. Like that was my fault. I take the blame for that one. I had no business looking back. It was stupid on my part, but after allowing myself to be frustrated for 24 hours, I looked at everything, looked at what the potential was there 300 meters away of what I could have done. Now I didn't do it, obviously, but it was there. My training had put me there. My team had put me there. I looked at all the experiences that had led up to that and the positivity that was around that. And I acknowledged that, I could have done it that day. And, that makes me feel good about the fact that I was there and I was trying and I had the potential to do it. It just didn't happen. So when we get into these events and something takes us out of it, take away as much as you can from the positives, acknowledge the negatives, but, move past it and grow from it.
That's what you got to do. You got to pick up the pieces and move on. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I have a similar story. I didn't look back, but first season in Norway, first big international event. The Russians were there. This was during the Cold War. And I get in the 3,000 first day of the competition. I get paired with a Russian fellow, 19 years old, same age. And, he made the national team, so he was obviously no slouch. We're going nose to nose in the 3,000. I mean, we are, I have a last inner. I think you're familiar with how international speed skating, but you have an inner and outer track. And I've got on the last lap, I've got the last corner is going to be a last inner. And coming into the changeover on the back straightaway, I'm right in this guy's back. So basically, theoretically, I got a 15-meter lead on him. All I got to do is get around that last corner, and I've got him. But he's not happy that I'm passing him going into the corner. He's not thrilled about that at all. He's given a full engine, and but I thought I've got him, and I don't know what happened. About 2/3 of the way around the corner, I clipped my outside boot and a skate, and just kicked my skate out underneath me. Down I went. And the thing is that the guy who was keeping track of my time, I was under the American record. So can you imagine that? I would have my first international competition. I would have beat a Russian and set an American record 3,000. And dang, it's sweet. And all of a sudden, it's gone. And but it was that initial gut wrenching disappointment that I wasn't going to let me, I mean, nobody was going to, I had good teammates and nobody was going to let it take away from what I had done. And even, see, the Russian Soviet trainer at that time, Kudryashev, he even told my coach, he says, that's a coming man. So that's the way they expressed it then. He's in the up and comer. He's coming man. And, and when Tenman told me that afterwards, I mean, that definitely lifted me a lot, but to get the kind of acknowledgement from the top coaches in the world. But, you just got to take the positive. I mean, it still didn't replace the fact that I would have crossed the finish line, with those two little golden nuggets hanging. So, yeah, that happens. That's sport for you. And you just pick up the pieces and move on. And later that season, I had later that year, the following month, I was in the World Championships, set an American record at 5,000. And in March, I was in Tolga, Norway, and set an American record for 3,000 meters. So, it all came together. I didn't let it kill me. Didn't let it take away what I'd done. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. You got to just pick it up and move on. And there's still, to be able to be to that point where you're going to qualify for the team, you've got it. And yeah, okay, something comes up and it gets taken away from you. But yeah, in your heart you had it.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be at international competition or qualifying for NCAAs or Olympic trials. We're trying to relate this to any event. So, if you're at an event, any of you listening, and things don't go right, don't beat yourself up. It's
that's what I mean, you learn from it, and you learn something about yourself, and you might be a little surprised. It might be a little ugly, but you move past it. You build from it. Yeah, you build from it. Yeah, I'm not gonna let this. I can see which way I can go here. I'm not gonna let it take me down. I'm just gonna go from here and go up.
Yep. So that all said, any plans for you for 2021? Any goals for you?
No mask. No, don't wear my mask. I like to see them go away, though.
Right.
Yeah. No, everybody stay healthy. Just stay healthy and get through this winter season. And we're in the cold and flu season, so everybody's walking on eggshells, especially when you have as we both do, have a spouse in the healthcare sector. You're always worried about them. So stay healthy. Say your prayers. Eat well. It's Lord put us on earth here for a reason, so let's discover what it is. Make the most of it.
Absolutely. Just lastly, if anybody has questions or wants to reach out and you feel comfortable with them doing so, is there a good way that they can find you? Social media?
On Facebook. Yeah, still there. Yeah. On Facebook. Yeah. It's just, If you have any questions, shoot them. I'll shoot them my way. I'll be happy to help any way I can. If you're having some tough times, bring it on. We'll get through it.
Thank you, Bart. I can't thank you enough for all your mentorship towards me and everything you do for our community. As I'll say in the intro, Bart has been instrumental in helping with Hellbender, as well as many other things throughout the community with the Run 828 Foundation. So thank you so much, Bart, for everything you do. And I certainly wish you and Eve a very Merry Christmas and hopefully a very joyous New Year.
Same here, and thank you. Thank you all you do for the community. You're a beacon. You're a beacon for all of us. Love you, Aaron. Say hi to Beth. All you guys stay healthy and enjoy your Christmas and holidays. And Miles.
Well, Bart is beyond amazing, not only as an athlete, but as a human being. I love him dearly, and he's, just got so much that he can share. We finished the conversation. I recorded this, well after we recorded the conversation. And, he texted me and he was already saying, I really wish we could have expounded on this or touched on that. And, it's another episode. That's the great thing. We can continue our conversation, and talk more about, more details. And obviously he has a lot to share, and I appreciate his time and willingness to come on. He's been on other podcasts before, and you can, obviously Google and find other episodes where he's been on. He was on I'm trying to remember. It was a podcast on the Vespa, I believe. I think it's on Vespa, the nutritional product, kind of fat burning. I believe he was on that podcast. If you're interested in hearing more about that, because obviously, Bart's super into that style of nutrition. So if you're wanting to learn more about that, you can Google that. Perhaps I will, and look for that in the show notes. If I can find that episode, I'll certainly link it. But Bart is just a tremendous man. So thank you, Bart. So far as everything else that's going on here, obviously we prepare for the holidays. My son is finishing up his cross-country season, having some problems with his Achilles. I talked with Miriam Saloom, our resident physical therapist here at the podcast, about the Achilles. I can link that also in the show notes. But he's having some severs in his heel, which is causing him some pain. He's kind of hobbling after yesterday's race. Yesterday was his district meet. His team and himself have qualified for a conference, which is next week. So we're getting a little time off here. Not much we can do between then and now, other than just let him rest up, get healthy, and hopefully have a good final race of the season. We had planned on running the Pilot Mountain Goat, not this coming weekend when the podcast released, but the following weekend, which would be December 19th. But obviously with how he's feeling, we're not going to go together. I am leaning towards not going myself, just with the way COVID is kind of ramping up here. Not that I don't trust the race. As I said, in the previous episode, my friends are race directing it, and they are taking good precautions, but I don't think I need to put my family at risk just with the travel to the race and being around other people right now. So I am going to most likely, unless something changed, I'm going to not go and not race. That's just my level of comfort and my preference. I know people are racing, and we miss racing for sure, but I'd rather be healthy for the holidays and see my family. I'll probably hold off on that and wait. I'm still signed up for the South Mountains 50K in January. Looking forward to that. Training goes well. My best friend David Workman, who I do numerous adventures and runs with, we went to the Smokies again this past weekend and ran up Mount Sterling, which was absolutely beautiful. I posted a picture on my Instagram page of the summit and the view we were treated to. Mount Sterling was just incredible. I had never been up there. There's a fire tower up there. There was some snow and definitely some ice on the stairs, so we did not go up the fire tower. But just what a beautiful run! High peak in the Smokies with just a gorgeous view. We came down into one of the watersheds and ran next to Deep Creek. Just a fantastic adventure run. One of those runs that just kind of rejuvenates you and keeps you moving, keeps you motivated. And speaking of which, my newsletter should be finished this weekend, which is the 12th and 13th. I should have December newsletter out this weekend. So if you're looking to receive the newsletter, you can go on to my website, mrrunningpains.com, and all of my previous newsletters are archived under the Connect page. as are the podcasts. So all of my previous podcasts and newsletters are linked under the contact page on mrrunningpains.com, as well as you can subscribe to the newsletter. So it drops in your inbox whenever I get it out. I usually get it out about mid-month. And I try to fill it with as much information as I can. Training, so some tips on training, some stories, some nutritional tidbits, recipes. I do a song of the month. If I heard a good podcast, I'll post it in there. If I make a new YouTube video, I'll post that as well. Working on a inclement weather video right now, so it's that time of year where you may not have a treadmill. It's tough to get outside. You may have kids and you're just kind of stuck at the house and just looking to get something in. And I kind of came up with a little workout that you can do at home and modify to your needs. It'll still give you a good, kind of aerobic workout. So I'll probably post that here. I'll probably get that up this week as well. So my YouTube channel is under Aaron Saft, and so stay tuned for that. What else is going on? It's good. I've started a new training phase. I'm into I'm working on my max VO2. So I'm doing shorter intervals right now. You can follow me on Strava. Aaron Saft, MR Runningpains on Strava. So if you want to follow me on there and see what I'm doing, ask questions by all means. My coaching is extremely busy right now. I had a huge influx here within the past 2 weeks of athletes, which is tremendous. I'm so happy to onboard these athletes and get them going for their 2021 goals. It's as we have people coming in and out, you can always reach out to me. If I'm full, I'll let you know. And if you're looking for a coach, I may be able to direct you to somebody else that can help at that capacity. But if I have space, I certainly will talk to you and see if I'm the right coach for you. Good time to be thinking about that. If you're thinking about a coach, good time to reach out, to start working towards those 2021 goals. It's never too early, or, well, it can be too late. So better get on the front side of things. So reach out to me. My email is runningpains@gmail.com. You can also connect with me through my website, mrrunningpains.com. There is a connect or contact in there as well. It's also in the show notes. So, and you can also hit me up on the social media channels. I have the MR Runningpains coaching Facebook page, as well as my personal page, Aaron Saft, and Instagram, I'm MR Runningpains as well. Been doing a lot of pictures from my runs and stuff like that on social media. So maybe give you some new ideas of places you can run. We've been trying to explore a little bit more right now in the winter, where we might have a little bit more time on the weekends. So getting out to some new places and seeking out some new trails, and love connecting with people in those ways as well. I guess that's about all I got for this week, guys. As I said last week, I am connecting with a legend in running in general, not only ultra running and trail running, but she is just a powerhouse. Her PRs are just impressive across the board. Of course, I'm talking about Ann Riddle. She has done a lot. So I look forward to our conversation. I'll be recording that later this week and putting that out next week. So stay tuned for Ann's interview. And like I said, please subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe to the podcast, leave a review if you like, reach out if you want to hear from somebody special or hear a special topic. I'm trying not to just do episodes where I'm talking at you. I'm trying to, gain some guests where we can learn some things together. Hopefully you learned from Bart. I always do. I love hearing from Bart, even if it's just a reminder, that his little reminder on the cadence, that it really rang a bell in my head. I was like, oh man, he's right. Like, my cadence really has slowed down. And so I've kind of, done a little bit of refocus after that conversation of making sure that, my cadence is being picked back up, where, I'm not just kind of slogging. But we have to be careful, right? We have to make sure that our form is proper. I went and saw Miriam today, actually, as I record this. I was having some scapula behind my shoulder blade issues, and it had to do with my posture and the way I was working at my workstation. So it gave me a good reminder of my posture, not only when I'm running, but when I'm working. So modified my stand-up desk a little bit more. Just all aspects of life, we have to be well-rounded and make sure that we're incorporating everything we need. So if you guys have any questions or anything comes up, comments, please do reach out. As I said, love to connect with you. I thank you for your time, for listening to the podcast. Share it if you would, if you feel that somebody could take value from it or learn something from it. And other than that, I hope everybody stays safe and gets to enjoy their running. Be careful out there, and I will talk to you next week, folks.